The attorney for former priest John Feit calls for a mistrial. He says an expert witness referred to a polygraph, and that's not admissible in court.
Judge Louis Singletary reviewing the motion now and will rule on this first thing in the morning. Carrie Zayas has the latest from the courtroom. Carrie?
Well, after the judge dismissed jurors for the day, lead defense attorney, as you mentioned, Oscar Rene Flores, called for that mistrial. So take a listen to how this played out in court.
I will go back and review the record, and after having done so, I will issue a ruling on your motion for a mistrial.
I can hear. Before the defense's motion, the jury heard from 3 witnesses today, including Richard Sipe. He is a former priest, a monk for 18 years, now a counselor who specializes in sexual behavior of Roman Catholic priests. He has published hundreds of articles about sex and the clergy. His findings were included in the movie Spotlight. That's the story about the massive child molestation cases and cover-ups that happened in Boston. Today, Sipe told jurors that he reviewed a voluminous amount of documents and files on John Feit. In his words, there was a clear picture of involvement by John Feit in this case. He says most people don't act on their sexual urges, but there are those who do. And this is how he described what he learned about John Feit.
The documents, I believe, showed a man, at least the terms of the documents that I saw, was characterologically a man who would fit into immature psychosexual development and also a sociopathological tendency is in terms of sexuality.
Mr. Sipe also told the jury that he felt Father Feit could behave well in a structured environment, but outside of that environment, his impulses could take over. He described Feit as a smart and clever man, but said a breakout of violence and human impulse was obvious. Eventually, he said, moving into murder. Now, when cross-examined by the defense today, Mr. Sipe said that he had never met or even spoken to John Feit. His findings were all based on his case file, including depositions and testimony. He was not present for the testimony of any of those witnesses either. Now, tomorrow, as we mentioned, Judge Louis Singletary will rule on this motion for a mistrial. We're going to be here to bring you the very latest. We are live in Edinburgh tonight. Carrie Zayas, Channel 5 News at 6.